Hey guys, today we're going to finish the tutorial series of Warframe based ground tutorials, excluding anything as far as arc weighing or any of the various modes and things of that sort after this one. If they happen to add a new mode, who knows if we're going to get around to it or not. But today we're going to look at Disruption, which is, I feel, probably the one true endless mode, in that you can endlessly play it to your heart's content till it's too hard for you. There's no arbitrary timer ticking down or any of that sort of thing, as long as you're actively trying to do the mission anyways. Now they do have these for each of the different factions. 2 of the nodes for it you'll only be able to do if you've completed the story quests that precede them, but they all play the same. You're going to start off nice and easy. I'm going to have to remember how to play this game because honestly it's been a long time for me. So if you see any goofiness on my part, I apologize. Now the mission won't start until you hack a terminal. Working our way over to it. And then from there our goal is kind of going to be slaughtering things to get keys. And then after the keys are gotten, we slot them into a machine. And we're good to go. So we'll see right there we've got this red, we'll call it a star, kind of, this red star symbol. This is a pillar, conduit I believe they call. We get the key that matches that, and then we can actually go ahead and start the mission proper. Which you're saying right now, I thought hit the terminal though. We hacked the terminal. That started the mission. Yes, we started the mission. Killing Eximuses and other big heavy dudes. We'll drop these things right here. You pick up the red key. You will notice that the red key has a symbol associated with it that you can kind of see going on the ground when it's on the radar. Let me try dropping this real quick so that we can elaborate that. You can see how the symbol on that matches the symbol on the pillar. So we pick up this pillar symbol, slot it into the proper pillar. It will apply either a buff to the bad guys or a buff to us. And our new goal is to find a type of dude known as a DEMOLIST and kill them. If that DEMOLIST reaches that pillar, because he's a suicide bomber of sorts, it will destroy the pillar, and if enough pillars are destroyed, we lose. When you hear that noise, you know he's close. When you get close enough, it'll actually highlight it on the menu for you. You kill him, pillar is successfully defended. Proceed to the next pillar. After, of course, finding dudes, murdering dudes, getting the key. Now, they're color-coded and they are also symbol-coded, which the symbols are nicer for me personally because I have a hard time distinguishing the colors sometimes, and there will be a frequent issue of, it's cyan, no, it's blue. So in the case of this, we've got this little triangle there and this little diamond here. We gotta figure out which one we got there. We've got a square tower up right now, which is neither of these. So that's not really super helpful to us yet. Do we have another pillar up anywhere else? We got a triangle pillar way off in the distance over there. So we come down here, we grab a triangle key, and then we proceed to that pillar. Now, this mode is probably the nicest in many ways. One such way is the ability to control the flow of the fight. If you're in a group and you're phenomenally overpowered for what you are doing, you can decide to run multiple pillars at once. You can hear him over there. Kill him, he's dead. That pillar's safe. And what I mean by controlling the flow of things is, let's say, okay, we're doing awesome. Obviously we're way too strong for the bad guys that we're trying to kill here. So as a group we decide we're going to do this a little bit faster. And you split up. Somebody gets a key for the square, the blue square. Somebody gets a key for the grayish cyan diamond. Somebody gets a key for the star. And you're working all these pillars at once. Because nothing else matters in this mission besides making sure the one guy with a bomb does not reach the appropriate pillar. So of course if you're doing multiple pillars at once, you're going to spawn multiple Demolists or Demolitionists. They're all going to be coded to a specific one. And all that matters is that specific one doesn't reach it. See, when I get close to him, marks him off as a bad guy, we kill him, it's good. So if you're in a good team, you can just work at all these pillars at once and just absolutely blow through this mission. And then as things get a little bit more tricky or a little more complicated, maybe people are starting to go down or having a hard time killing the bad guys because their weapons just aren't putting out the damage necessary to drop the Demolist fast enough. So maybe at that point you're like, okay, we need to work together to get this done. You can do that too. You can take it slow, you can take it fast, you can do it however you want. As long as you're not taking too long of a break between plugging into one of the pillars, the game will let you just go as long as you want. Now, I don't know the specific hard numbers. I believe it's something like 15 minutes. If you go 15 minutes without touching any of the pillars, it gets a little angry at you and tells you to do an objective or you're going to fail the mission. Audio can be super important for finding the demolitionists in this because it's positional. So if they're coming from the left somewhere, it'll sound like they're coming from the left. They're coming from the right, so on. Really helps you fine-tune where the bad guy is to zoom in. Pillars go in sets of 4, whether you've completed them or they've blown up, either way. As soon as you get the first set of 4 done, you can extract at any time, although the actual map indicator turns into just a mini-map indicator after the next set is available. Again, you can do this as long as you possibly want to. The more people you got, the easier it's going to be, theoretically. A word about the Demolists. They will continually make this red pulse around them that works essentially as a nullifier. So do expect that you're going to end up not being able to just nuke everything down with your Warframe powers. You're not going to be able to just ember the world of doom on fire around you in order to kill everything before it even spawns, because they're going to just nullify it out. Likewise, this does make for some interesting combinations of what Warframes you could choose to use. In the case of what I'm using here, you'll see it's a very sturdy frame. In the case of Hildren, she has lots of shields. It's not really affected by nullifying in regards to her powers, because she doesn't really use her powers that much when I use her. So anything that relies more heavily on just beating something down will work great for the Demolists. If you have a weapon that does a high amount of spike damage, it's ideal because you can just one-shot the Demolist and then it's no longer a problem. Don't have to worry about if all of a sudden you didn't catch him until right near the pillar, because you still have that capacity of just murdering it with one shot and saving the pillar. The mission will just continually repeat like this, but I will actually throw up on the screen a thing about the rotations, because the rotations for this mode are different than normal. Again, it kind of comes down to how well you're doing, how quick it'll charge up, but there is a balance between how many pillars you've been consistently protecting at a time. So the rotations will increase much further, much faster, the better you do. So as you can see from the chart that I've got on the screen, by the time you hit tier 4, or the round 4, if you continually defend at least 3 conduits, you will pretty much always be getting the C tier rewards. So instead of having an A, A, B, C, you very quickly just start getting C's and C's and C's and C's and C's and C's and B's and C's, and it's just, it's nice for the end of how things normally would work. Now, reward-wise, there is really just a very low chance of getting blueprints for 2 of the Gauss weapons from any of the Demolisher units. And on Sedna's node, that's where you would get all of the Gauss parts. So that's really the main reason to be coming back to these things if you're looking for something outside of just enjoyable gameplay loop. Now to note, I am doing this on the lowest difficulty node, just to explain how it works, because these tutorial series are very much here to kind of help you understand the mechanics of a mission, not necessarily a min-maxing pro guide as to how to blow them out of the water. I, as usual, will not be telling you any kind of a hard stat on something, because the game will constantly change things and update things when it decides that, oh, well, this is too easy or too hard, or everybody's complaining about this. So I stay away from hard numbers, because that way if it changes, you don't have the wrong impression. You're not going, oh, well, he said that this thing here would have a 10% drop rate. Because I never said it. Now at the end of every 4th pillar, you get your reward. You can keep going. You can leave anytime after the first 4. In this case, that's enough to really have you get the idea. Each faction has 4 or 5 different demolists or demolitionists in order to blow up the pillars, so you can really just kind of learn on those. This is my first time seeing this screen. I guess they reworked the complete screen. I didn't know that. But there you have it. That's generally how these missions go. We can actually come right up over into here really quick, and we will show off a few of the demolitionists. You can see there's quite a few of them. Like I said, there's 4 or 5 for each faction. The Demolist ones are only for one of the story-based ones. I won't have any of the... These aren't all of them. I haven't done all of these missions. In honesty, I haven't done a lot of missions lately. But just kind of a hinting at it. Either way, you'll know it's a Demolist. Or a Demolitioner. Because the noise. The noise is the same. Doesn't matter what faction. Blinking lights, the same. Doesn't matter what faction. The only big difference between the different factions is, of course, what they're weak against. So if you're going up to do an infested one, you might want to focus on getting the correct damage type to really kill them down faster. Because the 2 things that really matter in this mode is A, you surviving, because of course if everybody wipes, then you're done anyways. And 2, making sure that the Demolisher, the Demolist, they never reach the pillar. So if you spec for, you know, on this guy some pure magnetic, you're going to rip through his shield really fast, and it might help kill him quicker before he reaches the pillar. Again, the high DPS style weapons are great for this, because you can gun them down quicker. The high spike damage weapons are really good for this, because you can just get to them, pop it off really quick, and be done with it. And then all the rest of the fodder exists purely for trying to kill you, and, you know, if you're looking for resource drops or the casual mod drops from all those, that's where you're going to get it. hopefully this provided to be useful for you. I know it took me a very long time to get to it. In all honesty, I'm saving this part towards the end of the video just because let's get the tutorial out of the way. But in all honesty, I haven't turned Warframe on in about 6 months. Monster Hunter World Iceborne came out with a bunch of updates. I was banging out on that. Phantasy Star Online 2 finally came out in North America, and despite a dumpster fire Windows Store launch, I've been playing that and enjoying it because I've been waiting for it for 8 years. So at some point I may come back to Warframe and check out the story stuff, but at this point, ideally that's what I'm more interested in out of Warframe. And if you find you need help with understanding a mission, and you haven't found something else on YouTube that really explains it, or you haven't found a guide to the Lotus or another player that was willing to take the time and explain it to you, then the best thing I could recommend is going to the Warframe wiki. I know it sounds ridiculous that I have to point people to a website that's, you know, people maintained outside of the actual game itself, but it has a lot of information, including hard numbers on it. So if you're looking for a particular mission or a particular Warframe or weapon or enemy, anything of that sort, the wiki is a great tome of information that you can go to, and it'll tell you, okay, you know, this is how these things work, this is how these things work. The only thing it might be lacking on is some descriptive pictures or a little bit of hint or something at times. Or maybe it's a little outdated, but it's a great resource of information for things like, well, how much does this pillar restore life support? Or what move gets affected by what thing? Like, is this a power strength move? Is this a duration-based move? It does take reading, which, I mean, understandably, a lot of times you don't want to do. I get it. But if you can't find a tutorial somewhere and you can't find somebody that's willing to explain it to you, the Warframe wiki is probably the best place to go. Up until Digital Extremes takes the time to make some legitimate, decent tutorials to explain the mechanics of their stages in a thorough kind of way. With that, I hope the tutorial was good. I hope you don't mind the excuses of it's not an excuse, I just didn't feel like doing it until now. Hopefully it proves useful to you. In the meantime, guys, everybody have a good time. I hope you keep enjoying the game. I hope you keep enjoying everything you're doing out there. Until next time, see you then.